people send me like written interviews and they're like, anything else you want to share? The last few interviews I just wrote hose mad just to see if like my PR team would send it forward, and they did. I'm very excited to see if like an article comes out or like anything else you want to share, like hose mad. It's so crazy. So yeah, if you're starting a new business, just remember hose mad.
So Vedant, it's so good to have you.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your journey, your background, where you started, how you started. Give me some brief on that.
I mean, I just basically grew up like very business obsessed, and I was always just hunting for like something that would fill, like check all these boxes in my head about with an opportunity. And eventually sneakers came about, and you know, we jumped at it, and we built around problems. So every time we found a problem, we would try and build a solution around it, and slowly and steadily, like it found its own ground and built into its own thing, you know.
So where did the idea of it came about? Like, why sneakers? What did you see?
Like I said, I was always hunting for a specific opportunity.
Since school?
Yeah, since I was like heavy business obsessed, like 5th, 6th grade onwards. It was like the only thing I could think about. I was waiting to start my own business. Like I can't think of a time back when I didn't want to do this, you know, like anything business related. And then eventually when I learned about shoes, it was like, okay, this is clearly an opportunity which you can build on.
Okay.
And then we just dived into it, you know, dove into it.
Is this at the time when you were vlogging as well?
This was before when I was vlogging. So the idea of vlogging was to keep myself accountable, to help myself like develop a work ethic to build a business eventually.
And
it was very constant. If you watch the first episode of my vlog, it says like, yo, I want to build a business, but I don't have a work ethic. This vlog will hopefully keep me accountable to build that work ethic. And when I started vlogging, like, you know, I didn't have much going for me. And by the time I stopped vlogging, I was in theory running 3 businesses. Eventually I shut down 2 of them. One of them was Mainstreet. And now today, you know, it's my primary concern.
That's great, man. So what age did you start this? Like what age did you start Mainstreet?
I was, must be 17, 18 types. When
17,
I started
18.
working on the idea. I considered having started as a business when I was about 20.
So earlier it was, how did you start selling or reselling?
We started as a YouTube channel.
You started as a
money, and there was no resale happening in India at the time. We started as a YouTube channel because we saw that, yo, like, you know, sneakers seems to be a cool industry globally, and India doesn't seem to have any. So we said, yo, let's just build on this. And then it was, okay, let's start a sneaker store. First, the idea was, okay, let's start a sneaker store, like a retail store. Then we realized that that takes a lot of money and connections.
It does.
None of which we really had. And then the idea was, yo, the gap is in the sneakers in India, and there's clearly a lack of awareness. So let's just start a YouTube channel. And so we started a YouTube channel. And then that very organically became a consignment store. It was like, yo, because some dude like DM'd me on Instagram saying, hey, would you like to sell your stuff at us? I'm starting a tattoo parlor in this very posh area in Pune, and I come from Pune.
Yeah.
And he was like, would you like to sell your stuff here? And I was like, sell what? Like, you don't sell anything. But I was a heavy opportunist. So I went to look at it, and I was like, it's kind of cool. It's a very cool area. And there's no store like this in the country. So I said, yo, why don't you... I said, we'll tell our audience on YouTube, which was like 500 subscribers at the time. So we'll tell our audience on YouTube that we'll sell their shoes for them, and we'll take a commission on the sale, and we'll give you a commission off that commission because we can't afford to pay rent. I said, cool. And I managed to convince him to also do the interiors of it. And boom, we had India's first like sneaker resale store.
Crazy.
Barely any shoes, nothing crazy. Didn't know how to run Jack, but dukaan tha. That's how the idea just came, because we didn't have any money, so we had to build a consignment model. Till today, we run on a consignment model. It's the biggest in the country, from a consignment standpoint at least, for sure. I mean, from all standpoints also, but it's still like just the best business model in this space, in my opinion. You know, from a consumer standpoint, the shopping experience is strong. From a seller standpoint, it's just, you know, highest payout, best experience, all that.
Okay, that's great. So what would you say is your USP?
Trust.
Trust.
Not in the fact that you'd always get like on time delivery. मतलब late हो जाता है.
हाँ वो हो ही जाता है.
But trust that we are always there.
हाँ.
कि end of day कुछ गलत हुआ ये वो कभी नकली भी जूता हुआ है in the past. अगर हो गया
होता है ऐसा बहुत, मैंने भी
बहुत होता
सुना
है. हाँ अगर हमारे साथ भी happens very rarely. लेकिन जब होता है तो we are there.
हाँ ठीक है.
आप आओगे तो भी कभी कभार ऐसे भी लोग आते हैं जो असली जूता बोलते हैं नकली है. like, भाई लेकिन look after you worn it twice, you know some patches, some marks आ जाते हैं. ये तो नॉर्मल है, सब जूतों पर होता है पहनने के बाद. मतलब हमारी गलती तो नहीं है. नाइकी वी आर नॉट नाइकी. तू जानता नहीं मेरे बाप कौन शुरू हो जाते हैं.
ये बॉम्बे में भी होता है.
दिल्ली में आफ्टर स्टार्टिंग इन दिल्ली वी लर्नड ऐसे भी लोग.
दिल्ली इज अ सेपरेट वाइब.
आई विल टेक यू टू कोर्ट इन हरियाणा.
डोंट टेल मी समवन एक्चुअली सेड दैट.
कसम से मुझे बॉम्बे में फोन आ रहा है भाई क्या करे, जूता तो असली है, ये तो हर जूते पर होता है पहनने पर. बोल रहा है क्या क्वालिटी हमने बनाया तो नहीं. फिर क्या मतलब हम बोलते वी रिफंडेड आल्सो.
अच्छा
नॉट वर्थ द हैसल.
या मैन
ये वेरी क्लियरली बोल के कि बॉस बिकॉज यू आर क्रिएटिंग अ सीन वी आर गिविंग यू दिस रिफंड. लेकिन
they come at the store and create a scene.
या मतलब ईगो ट्रिप होता है ना. लाइक
so when did your first, I think it was in 2020 that you opened your first official store.
Yeah, we were supposed to open exactly 2 years ago, about a week from now.
Okay.
For my 21st birthday.
Oh man.
We are like a very cool like launch campaign planned and everything. It was very exciting. And yeah, and then my birthday was the first day of the national lockdown. Big national catastrophe. It was like first time in my life I've done all the work, and I was like, it feels so good. You know, all I need is for the world to not end. That's all. Bas utna hi ho jaye, I'll be fine. It's too much to ask. The world was ending.
But yeah, same thing happened with me, bro. I also started my business in 2020, and it was a FMCG company. I make chips and cookies and
sick. What kind of
healthy.
chips, man?
I'm gonna send some with you when you go back.
I have a chip addiction.
Like quinoa chips and multigrain chips, all healthy. They're really healthy. They're not, I'm not labeling them as healthy. They are healthy.
Sick.
So, and as soon as I started FMCG, you need salesmen, you need people to go to these shops and sell your products. We had made so much stock, and then lockdown happened and no one bought our stock.
Yeah. What's it called?
So the snacks brand is called Best, like Best hai yaar. And cookies is called Better Bite.
Sick.
So on that we have cookies, we're launching
Better and Best.
Yeah,
nice.
sugar-free
so
brownies.
To start something that's good.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah,
Better
start
Best.
something that's good. So tell me, bro, how has the journey been after opening your first store?
It was cool, you know.
Can you also let me know about the struggles you faced after opening the store?
After opening the store?
Yeah.
Struggles are the same before, during.
वो रोज होते हैं.
हाँ,
रोज आते हैं struggles to entrepreneurship.
हर रोज नया वाला आ जाता है.
आता है.
Recently we learned to deal with the government, you know, that side of things.
Yeah.
I think you'll get it.
Yeah.
That was a very special struggle.
Yeah. And now you open another store in Delhi. In Dhar.
Have you been?
I haven't been. I have to go.
What are you doing tonight?
Nothing.
We're hosting a little party tonight. Come.
Done for sure, bro. Cool. For sure, I'll see you there.
It's like 5-6 p.m. onwards. Just come, bring your friends. It'll be fun.
Done. So, how has coming back to your key learnings? What have your key learnings been in the last 2 years?
Output is everything. You cannot. Reiteration is worth a lot more than development. You need to just be okay with outputting average shit, because your biggest growth will happen when you output, receive feedback, incorporate and reiterate.
100% agree, yeah.
You need to be very okay with failure. You need to be okay with sending out bullshit.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff, basically. Aside from that, key learnings, it's hard to think. I mean, because there's so much. It's hard. Like, it's more of, most things are like nuanced, and like in day-to-day, it's like
day-to-day struggles. I think they really shape you up.
Yeah, I think you also just learn to deal with it differently, right? You're mentally just a lot more prepared. You're mentally in a much more stable environment.
For sure.
In the sense, like, struggles don't phase you after a while. It's like, oh, this is another problem.
Yeah, I have to sort this out.
And eventually learn, no problem is terminal.
Yeah.
A mentor of mine said this to me recently, and I was going through a really rough patch, and I was like, yo, like, how did you deal with this when you were doing this? And one of the things he sent me like a beautiful 5-point list of just 5 very well composed dialogue on getting through stuff like this. I just really hit the spot,
Mm-hmm.
One of which is there's no problem that's terminal. And, just dealing with the anxiety that these things bring is you have to feel it. You have to just know that it'll pass and allow yourself to just feel it.
Mm-hmm. You meditate?
I do meditate.
Even I do. I think it's very important in every entrepreneur's life. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's important for everybody.
Everybody, just generally in every.
Why just
no. I'm just saying
it's so important.
Yeah. It just calms you down, brings down your anxiety.
It shows me how bad I am at staying still. I'm really bad at it, dude. But I tried. I think I'm doing at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, same. Yesterday I had my yoga on the podcast.
Sick.
So this is exactly what we were discussing about, just keeping still and calm.
Yeah.
And being in the present.
Yeah.
And not thinking aage kya ho raha hai, piche kya ho raha hai. You have to do your due diligence but still live in the present.
Say manifest but also do the work.
Exactly. So, okay, so my next question is, I have no idea
on how sneakers work.
On this whole hype thing, the whole hype scene that is coming to India. We've seen so many stores opening up. I think you were also at the launch part of Almost Gods. I think you were there as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
man.
even I was there.
That's my boy.
And then the Scrap Dog crew was opened up. One of my other guys I know, Sarthak, he's opening Shoes and Shakes. You opened Mainstreet. So what is this?
Very simple, dude. Imagine one of the flavors of the chips you make just blows up and everybody loves it, and everybody wants to have it regularly. But then suddenly, you stop making it in high quantities.
Yeah.
And there's still few people who are getting it and talking about it, and everybody else who's tried it before wants it. So they're all yo, I'm ready to pay. If you sell a packet for 50 rupees, they're I'll pay 100. Someone else will be I'll pay 200. Someone will be 500. Eventually, a packet that you make for 50 rupees is now selling for $1,000. Only because people just want. The demand is higher than the supply. It starts with demand, actually, not supply. It starts with demand. Do people want it? Once that demand is up, then restricted supply leads to surge in pricing in an aftermarket. Okay. And this is just a very natural human instinct. It happens with everything.
Yeah, that's
happens in the world of art, happens with watches, happens with cars, happens with handbags, happens with comic books, happens with RC cars, happens with you name it. Yeah. It happened with the tulips.
Pokemon, I know
bubble in the 1600s.
Yeah, I did.
It's just very primal human instinct to want what other people want and can't have.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different ego trip about it, right? For some people, it's I bought an expensive shoe and I paid whatever price the guy asked me for. That is my trip. That is my high. I can afford it. For some people, for them, their trip is that, I got an expensive thing, but because I am who I am, this guy gave it to me for a cheaper price. And some people are I got the most expensive, but I bought it at the retail price. So everybody has a different high off of it. And overall, this whole thing becomes a little market of its own. It's an industry of its own. And, you meet a lot of different characters and
Where do you think it's headed?
It's just growing very rapidly now. And, we're just riding the upside. It's a lot of fun. It'll basically where it's at right now is it's fresh because it's so nascent. Everybody's wearing the same stuff because essentially you're wearing something that other people can identify.
Mm-hmm.
Other people can't identify. It almost becomes pointless for you to wear it for most people in this space, and that's just how the natural movement of this works globally, right? It starts with that. Everybody wants to wear what other people know, so everyone's ended up wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
And everyone who's not involved is complaining about why is everybody wearing the same shoes and the same t-shirt? What the fuck? Is there a uniform at this party or what? But you can't blame them because this community only identifies so much right now. It hasn't developed depth yet.
True.
As it grows, they will identify a more wide array of styles and designs and brands. And once that grows and the depth of that grows, and each person will be able to develop their own personal taste and still identify with this community.
All right. Makes sense.
It boils down to identity. You have a specific painting because you identify with this artist. You like X, Y, you like so and so. You like this guy's work. You like his design. You like what he's painting about. You like the story. And you buy the painting because you have friends who also identify with it. Yeah. And you guys together are passionate about that. It's an identification metric.
So is it
I think these are all things that answer the question as to like, what do you work for? Like, what beyond? You work all your life, make all the money in the world, but now what?
Yeah.
And now all of this. You find something that you like and you buy stupid shit. That's the point of life.
Yeah, true.
What do you need to survive? You don't need a house this big.
Yeah.
You need a room.
Exactly.
You need food.
Yeah, basics.
You need food, clothes, shelter. That you get very early on. And then what?
Yeah. Then you spend on these.
Then you live your life. That's the point.
Yeah.
You do things that make you happy. Maybe charity, maybe this, maybe that, whatever.
But also, so pop culture and social media has played a big role in like the decision-making power of
course,
people, or especially when it comes to the whole hype part. So pop culture has a big
social media was just distribution. So earlier it was identity in the sense, you know, people around Brooklyn wanted to buy Supreme because they identified with the specific skate community. But the internet provided distribution of content to people around the world. Now some kid in Germany thinks that, oh, I identify with this specific. I personally feel like I identify myself as being born on the internet, dude. I was very lonely growing up. I just didn't feel like I had anything in common with all my friends. My closest friends, I love them to death, but I don't have anything in common with them. I got on the internet, I found people like I spoke a language with, you know. It's not even like I had to speak to them. But it was content. It was ideas. It was, you know, things like that. Casey Neistat. You just felt like, oh wow, that's something I can identify
I was just
with.
telling Krishna.
I'm so fascinated with the way the man lives his life that I want to adopt the entire lifestyle. And I did in such a big fashion, you know. Call me a copycat or whatever. But
no, you have
it was me like telling my story in a language that he said. You know, I was very shameless about it. I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, I'm clearly hugely inspired. And I take no qualm in that. I'm 17 years old, dude. I'm going to take time to build my own language.
Did you also get, like when you started off on YouTube, what were was there also hate in the comment section? There always is? Or like...
Luckily, I was blessed with negligible volumes of hate because I actually didn't get a lot of views. You know what happens is that hate only comes when like you do really well. And then everybody's... So now with Mainstreet, we get a lot of hate. It's because it's just working. You know, everyone has a problem. No one would care if we just existed. But because we exist and sell.
Yeah.
And everyone from like a Ranbir Kapoor, Ranbir Singh buys from us. There's people that are like, why are they buying from these guys? They suck. It's like, fine, I understand. You might have had a bad experience. Or, you know, you might have not interacted with us. You might have not had the opportunity to build that experience with us. And, you know, that sucks. Whatever it is. But that hate only ends up coming at times like that. And, you know, honestly, you don't want to be liked by everybody. You know, someone told me this. It was like doesn't pay. You want polar opinions. You want people to love you and you want people to hate you. You want a few people to love you who will pay you anything.
That's true.
That is value, right? And that's where we're at.
How is it like? Can I ask who was like the first big celebrity that bought a shoe from you, and what was that like, or what was your reaction like? Or
first big, there was Harshvardhan Kapoor and Anurag Kashyap in like the early days. Then eventually we got everyone, like slow and steady. Everybody started buying.
So how did that feel like?
It's a very long, arduous, patient game. Because you know the thing is, it's not a transactional equation that gets you the benefit of them shopping from you. If they need a shoe and they buy it from you and ends there, you don't get much out of it.
Yeah, true.
Even if you get them to like a sir, please, ek story dal do, like it doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
The value of having that clientele is if you can build a relationship with them. If they care about you beyond the shoes, if when they're in another city, in another room and talking about shoes, they bring you up because they're like, yo, I had such a good time shopping with these dudes.
Great.
And that is an achievement that I'm proud of, is that we've taken care of our people to the extent where they will happily tell their friends and family. And I know for a fact that happened because I know how many messages and calls I get from them saying, I got your number from this one, I got your number from this one. I'm like, wow, that's such a great person to get my number from. Like, please give my number to more people. It's nice. It's a fulfilling feeling, you know, when you like, oh, you played a patient game and it's paying off. And that payoff, I feel, comes only when you don't approach it with the intent of getting that payoff.
Yeah.
If you're doing it because you just know that you like this person and you want to deliver a good experience and you take care of them.
Yeah.
That means sucking up your ego. That means just being patient about it. That means being silent about things that annoy you. That means taking care of them. That means giving more before. That means not asking for anything in return.
I mean, the greatest people or entrepreneurs that I know carry the same feeling, not just in their initial years, but like throughout their journey.
It has to stay, dude.
Yeah.
This can never change.
You can't just
it's the same. It has
turn
to be
into
the
a
same.
7-8 years after you've exploded. You can't.
When you're working, you just have to be the same with your employees, with customers, with friends, family, everything. You got to give without expecting, and payoff will compound.
What do you think of your team? How important is your team?
They're everything, man.
Yeah.
I feel like if not for me, they would be themselves somewhere else doing the same things and, just doing a good job. But if not for them, I wouldn't be me. So, like, I feel like they're a lot more important to this business than, like, I am.
So agree with that, bro. Even I've seen that with, my business.
Yeah.
My team is everything.
Yeah.
My team is everything.
I feel like in India, like, this whole founder glory is a little disproportional.
It is. I think again it's because of those unicorns and all the how they are portraying it. I think that's the reason why.
No, I mean media likes to pick, like, I feel like this general promoter. It's also, if not, it's your job as promoter. This is your job. You have to go out and do this.
Exactly.
So as a result, unfortunately, like rest of the team always gets undercredited, but they don't really care about that in the first place, right? That's what makes them so special.
So, bro, my next question is, I also saw, I think even you guys are doing something with NFTs, something.
We were just testing. We dropped an NFT with a hoodie, 50 of them. In the first 2 days, we sold about 44 out of 50, which is cool. The idea was just to check how much of depth, like, sneaker community has towards Web3.
Okay.
Not much is the answer.
No?
Not much.
In India, not right now.
In India, and so sneakers in India is already a niche. And within that, people who care about NFTs want to buy, etc., etc. That intersection of all those Venn diagrams together ends up being very negligible. And for me, it was a dipstick. I understood that I need to just wait. Because our game, so NFTs is... It's a different enthusiasm right now.
Yeah, but it's running on the same model of hype.
Yes, but it's so where sneakers is in life right now is that people like you who are not into it have heard of it.
Yeah.
Enough to maybe even be like, oh, you're going to the store today, ek Jordan to le lete hain. Like utna to you will have seen other people wearing utna to ek Jordan.
Basic.
It is transcending from deep enthusiast to the more like
Basics.
general tier 1 community is now being like, oh, maybe I should also get that. Lots of people are buying like that now. Ek Yeezy to le lete, ek Jordan to le lete.
ये मेरे दिमाग में भी आता है.
Correct. That is because they derive status at the end of the day.
ठीक है.
And that's a perfectly valid reason to be buying. सबको पता है. There's a nice pair of shoes.
Comfortable also.
एक तो अच्छा जूता लेना ही होता है. Whatever. It's nothing wrong about it. NFTs and use case is not yet like penetrated platform. It is still very concentrated to OpenSea and then little bit on Twitter if you have an audience. In the real world, it doesn't have much of an impact. जूते बाहर पहन लोगे सबको पता है. With your NFT, you can't. क्या मतलब?
अभी यहाँ पे किसी के पास वो क्या वाइल्ड एप whatever यहाँ पे इंडिया में
है ऐसे लोग. हमारे भी कस्टमर्स लोग हैं जो who have mutant apes and bored apes and all, but they are deep enthusiasts of that also. Like it's not transcend. The use case is not as deeply defined yet. So Twitter DPs, for example, was one big evident like use case that would have impact. So people who are deep in Twitter community.
Yeah, I think personally I don't know about NFTs, but I do believe in the metaverse.
I think all of NFTs will also make sense.
Yeah.
It won't be so utility based is what I'm telling you. It'll be purely status based once like use case is defined. Like once we know where the display is, once we know what status it defines where, when it can define status for me beyond people who are the enthusiasts.
That's true. What do you think about getting like I'm basically like my family's from Ludhiana, so like my nephews and nieces over there, they are like 10, 12, 13 and they come to Delhi to buy shoes. They have plugs over there, but if they want, they come to Delhi to buy that pair of shoe that they want, and they know about Mainstreet and Crepe Docru and everything. what do you think? Do you think the next boom is going to be in tier 2 now of this whole thing, and how long will it take?
There's still a lot more depth to achieve in tier 1 because of how niche this industry is and how niche the consumer base is. It's already very spread out.
Yeah.
It's shallow everywhere. मतलब लुधियाना में भी होंगे, गोवा में भी होंगे, असम में भी होंगे, हर जगह में है. Jalandhar has, every city has, Amritsar has, Chandigarh has, Pune, Bombay, Bangalore, further south, हर जगह में है. It's very spread. Depth is going to take time. And a lot of these things you can't really tell status of. They're all retrospective. 5 साल में पता चलेगा क्या हुआ actually. Very hard to predict. Certain cities will develop certain communities and strength there. Others you just won't know.
I saw one of your posts on Instagram. I think that you had put up on 4 years of Main Street, if I'm not wrong. You did.
Yeah.
I saw one of the slides. It was Kunal Behl's message to you. Kunal Shah. Is he an investor in Main Street? How did that feel, bro?
It's great, man.
How did that happen?
I love him.
How did that happen?
I had the privilege of getting a cup of coffee with him in December 2019. December 2020. I had coffee with him in Bangalore. And it's just like a brilliant guy, man. I loved him. And at that time, we weren't raising any money. So when it came to it also, I was just digesting everything he was saying. And a few months later, we were raising money, so I texted him. And he replied.
Great. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Great story.
And it's excellent. The thing is, he invests a lot all over the place. That's his form of giving back, and it's beautiful, right? He's like, I made a lot of money in life. I could either do charity or I could just invest in a lot of startups.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of Arjun Vaidya 2 days back, who's the founder of Dr. Vedas, was here for a podcast, and he said, I did the same. I earned so much money by selling my company, and now I'm invested 50 over startups, and that's what I want. I want to give back to the...
So the thing was that what I'm really lucky about is that we put a little bit of money in as well, but I also have access to him.
Yeah,
and
that's
that makes
true.
me pretty happy that I can text him anytime and he can reply.
That's what matters a lot, I think.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted. I just want access to him. Like, capital is easy access right now, right? In the market we're at, anybody can raise money. It's not really the problem.
So in this space, are like a lot of people looking to invest in this?
In the sneaker space specifically, a lot of angels are looking to invest. But VCs have hesitation around the depth of the industry.
Okay.
So we have a few workarounds. We're raising some more capital now.
Are you also opening other stores? You plan on?
Planning to do Dubai in December.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, by the end of the year, we'll do international somewhere. It's like a branding thing. Like, these stores are not really like business for us. They're just...
Branding, it matters.
They're all branding experiences. They trust, community building exercises.
So where do most of your sales happen?
Online.
Through Instagram, website?
Through our own website.
Through your own, oh, okay.
Yeah. E-commerce is everything. The stores are supporting.
Same. For us, like my industry, it's different because e-commerce is again a big player. We started our own website 4 months back, and that's when this whole thing kicked off for me, basically. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Have you thought about it? Have you planned, or you just go with the flow?
It's a little bit of both, I have an extremely detailed plan, but I'm also just going with the flow. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does, bro. It does.
Like, I know exactly what I want to do, when, how, where, why. I don't know, man. I want to buy a plane.
That's great.
There's a couple of, like...
I want to buy a yacht, not a plane.
I want to buy a plane and a yacht, of course. There's a few houses I found around the world that I want to buy. There's a few elephant farms I want to buy. Save the elephants,
Okay.
That kind of vibe. I love animals.
Even I love animals. I go to every city I go to the zoo first. Just
nice. The elephant farm, like, I've been to a couple in Thailand when I was much younger, and that's where they charge money from tourists to, like, sit on an elephant and go around. I was like, damn, man, this sucks.
And also they make
I wanted to buy the place.
They make them do like crazy stuff.
Yeah, all of that. I basically want to put an end to all of that as much as possible when I make money. In 10 years, I see myself basically getting all the stupid shit out of the way by the time I'm 30 is the idea. plane, cars, boat, all that bullshit. And then solve more meaningful problems. Hunger, animal conservation, climate, family, legacy. Build on more meaningful businesses.
You think on family and legacy, leaving a legacy behind?
I'm fairly fascinated by it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just young and enamored by life like that. I get the whole argument against it, but I mean, I like the idea of just having a family. It's
even I love it,
important
bro. I can totally relate.
Yeah.
I think it is the most important thing in the world. That's what I feel for me.
So I don't know about most important. I think most important is just being happy while I'm alive.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I just really think family really matters.
Family matters for sure. About legacy and all that is like a separate conversation.
No, not legacy. No. I'm not talking about like. I'm talking about family.
Family is everything, right?
Family.
We're also very privileged to have like nice family lives.
Same. I've been privileged. I mean, with whatever
same.
I have. Yeah.
So I think we have the privilege to be able to ask for these things and want these things also, right? There are people who don't, and that sucks. But yeah, the idea is just to, like, by the time I'm 30, get all the stupid shit out of the way and then focus on more meaningful things.
That's great, bro. All right. It was a great conversation with you. You have any last notes to say to anyone who is starting out their journey, whether it's whatever they are doing?
I hate this question every time. People send me like written interviews and they're like, anything else you want to share? The last few interviews I just wrote hose mad just to see if like my PR team would send it forward, and they did. I'm very excited to see if like an article comes out or like anything else you want to share, like hose mad. It's so crazy. So yeah, if you're starting a new business, just remember hose mad.
All right, bro. Thank you so much for being here. It was an honor and I love the conversation.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Have a nice day.